Hello there to all the amazing people watching this video and my channel. In this video we will see 10 plus 1 fan facts for the Lord of the Rings. Now heads up, I say plus 1 because one of them will be a lie, something that I made up for the sake of this video. And I challenge you to identify which one it is and write it down in the comments below. I will reveal it at the end of this video. So, without any further delay, are you ready? Let's get started! Number 1. Sean Bean's fear of heights. Sean Bean climbed the mountains of New Zealand daily to get to the set. Bean had a phobia, which made it difficult for him to ride a helicopter up to the set. As a result, he was forced to hike up the mountain daily to reach the set on top of the mountain.
Like a human fly on the wall, clambering up this mountainside all by himself.
I used to see you from the helicopter, and I was sweating at the end.
Sean Bean is known for his portrayal of the character of Boromir, but you already knew that, didn't you? I used to be a bit terrified of flying, Bean said himself. Number 2. The Lord of the Rings cost less to make than The Hobbit. The Hobbit film's budget was almost 2 to 3 times bigger than the Lord of the Rings film's budget. In fact, the Lord of the Rings films cost between 93 to 94 million each, whereas the Hobbit films cost between a massive 180 to 250 million dollars for each film. I repeat, each film. In the end, the Lord of the Rings trilogy brought a return of almost 3 billion in the box office, while the Hobbit trilogy brought a return of almost 3 billion as well. It's crazy to think that both trilogies had almost the same amount of box office success, even though the Lord of the Rings ran on a significantly lower budget. Number 3. Tolkien didn't like the title The Return of the King. The Return of the King is the third and final volume of J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings, following the Fellowship of the Ring and the Two Towers. It was published in 1955. The story begins in the Kingdom of Gondor, which is soon to be attacked by the Dark Lord Sauron. In 1953, he proposed titles for the 6 books to his publisher. Book 5 was to be The War of the Ring, while Book 6 was to be The End of the Third Age. These titles were eventually used in the Millennium Edition. His publisher, however, split the work into 3 volumes, publishing the 5th and 6th books with the appendices into the 3rd and final volume with the title The Return of the King. Tolkien felt the chosen title revealed too much of the story and indicated that he preferred The War of the Ring as a title for the volume. Number 4. Movie production. Another interesting fact that very few seem to know about The Lord of the Rings is that the production had not originally started in New Zealand. In fact, Peter Jackson and his team started filming in parts of the United Kingdom and Europe. However, since they were running on a short budget for such a big production, Peter Jackson and his team decided that it would be best to have all the film shoot in one location, so that they can bring all the cast and crew together and consequently reduce the cost. And eventually, it proved to be a very good decision. Number 5. John Rhys Davies is the tallest actor in the Fellowship. Most viewers did not know this, considering he played Gimli the Dwarf. This is also proof of how detailed the special effects were for the movie, despite not having the CGI we know today. Though Gimli was portrayed as only slightly taller than a hobbit, the dwarf was played by an actor who was taller than both the likes of Aragorn and Boromir, and even Legolas, with whom he shared an amusingly competitive friendship. John Rhys Davies stands almost 6 feet and 1 inch tall, and he is the tallest member of the Fellowship. Number 6. It's a clean sweep. The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King won all 11 categories for which it was nominated, including Best Picture, Director, Adapted Screenplay, Art Direction, Makeup, Costume Design, Film Editing, Original Score, Original Song, Sound Mixing, and Visual Effects, making it the largest clean sweep in the Academy's history. I'll say that again. The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King was nominated for 11 Oscars and won all 11 of them. To this day, that remains a record. Also, it was the first fantasy film to win the award for Best Picture. In total, the franchise went on to win 17 Oscars out of 30 nominations, whereas including other awards, it won 475 awards out of the 800 it was nominated of. 800 nominations for 3 movies. I'll just let that sink in. Number 7. Sean Connery said no to play Gandalf. A producer of Lord of the Rings has said that Sean Connery turned down the role of Gandalf because he just didn't get it. Sean Connery turned down the role of Gandalf because he didn't understand the script. The role in Peter Jackson's Oscar-winning fantasy trilogy ultimately went to Ian McKellen, and we are more than grateful than ever for that choice, as Ian McKellen gave a memorable performance.
You shall not
In fact, Serian himself said in an interview, "They only wanted me because the established star said no." Number 8. Sir Christopher Lee and Tolkien. Sir Christopher Lee read The Lord of the Rings when it was first released in 1954 and read it every year since. He said about the book, "Nothing like it has ever existed and probably never will." And I think to this day he is still right. He originally auditioned for the role of Gandalf, but was instead cast as Saruman, as Peter Jackson wanted someone younger for the role of Gandalf. Also, Sir Christopher Lee met Tolkien by coincidence. Lee is reportedly the only member of the film set to ever meet J.R.R. Tolkien himself. Number 9. John Rhys Davies didn't have a tattoo done. John Rhys Davies, the actor who played Gimli, refused to get his matching Elvis tattoo with his fellowship. Among the 9 cast members of the fellowship, he was the only one who did not want to get inked. However, the fellowship tattoos were technically completed by Davies' stunt double, who had the tattoo instead of the actor. All 9 cast members have the number 9 in Elvis tattooed onto their bodies in different locations. Number 10. The perfect Aragorn. Nicolas Cage was originally supposed to play the role of Aragorn. He refused the role, mainly due to family obligations. Daniel Day-Lewis was next in line for this role, however, he also refused to take it up. Eventually, and in fact at the very last moment, the role went to Viggo Mortensen. Mortensen literally joined the cast the day before he was meant to start filming. At first, he didn't want to take the part of Aragorn, but his son Henry was a massive Tolkien fan and convinced his father to take the part of Aragorn. In addition, Viggo Mortensen bought 3 horses that were used in the films and also did his stunts without a stunt double, and he used a real steel sword. In fact, he even deflected a knife that was accidentally thrown at him in this scene. The Lord of the Rings swordmaster said that Viggo was the best swordsman he ever trained. Number 11. The Nazgul Screeches. The characteristic sound of the Nazgul sure brought fear and caused shivers to the spines of many. It's normal to think that in order for this sound to be created, the production team had to do something extraordinary. As it turns out, that screech had a simple explanation. According to an article in the BBC, the Foley artists who created simply wrapped 2 plastic party cups together to create the Bane sound before adding a few effects to complete the impression. The sound was simultaneously alien and organic, and it was accomplished using objects available for pennies at a grocery store. And this is also a great example on how you can create a masterpiece even on a tight and small budget. And that's it everyone, thank you for watching. If you liked this video, then please be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe and click on the bell to get notifications. Till the next one, have an amazing time and I'll see y'all later. For those of you that stay till the end, number 4 is a false fact that I made up.